In 2024, I graduated from engineering school, and a few months later, I got my first civil engineering job. And of course, it wasn't as fancy as I had hoped, and most of them were not. But I went all in and I gave it my best. I still felt very lucky, and I did what I had to do. And then 9 months later, I quit. And I know you're asking yourself, what led you to that decision? What gave you the confidence to quit your very first job? It is unusual that people quit their very first jobs because normally they struggle to get their very first jobs. So what gave you the confidence? What made you so sure? Because when I look back in time, in retrospect, I tell myself that was one of the best decisions that you ever made in your life. And how fast you made the decision is what even still impresses me right up until today. So if you are an early career professional and you're in your new job and asking yourself whether you should leave it or not, despite being there feeling lucky and yet feeling very uncomfortable at the same time, I'm going to guide you through some questions that you should ask yourself, some things that you should look out for before making that decision. So, disclaimer, I'm not advising you to go and quit your job. What I am here to do is to help you vet that decision. Can it survive reality? Is it a decision that will actually be rewarding to you? Because for me, it was totally rewarding. And I did it with a lot of confidence. And, even when you've taken a decision like that with a lot of confidence, there is still a little part of you that asks you, what if the other plan doesn't work? What if what you're headed to turns out to not be what you hoped that it was going to be? All those things, all those fears, they will always exist. All those things will keep crossing your mind. But I think that there are some very important questions that if you can answer clearly, you will then know what to go on and do or what direction to steer your life towards. So that is what I'm going to be doing in this video. First, we need to understand that civil engineering is physically and mentally fatiguing. Like it gets you tired. It demands a lot from you. So I got my first job. It was a connection that I had made while I was in school doing some internships. So when I graduated school, I was looking for a job. So I reached out to a few people, and the owner of this company was one of the people that I had grown a connection with when I was still in school. And that is one very important aspect. Networking, building reasonable connections. I mean, they will help you one or two times. So that's besides the point, but that is very important in every young adult's life. Make sure that you present yourself properly to people, present yourself as valuable to people, present yourself as a person of integrity, present yourself as a hard worker, present yourself as a disciplined person. I think all those things help you in one way or the other down the line. So after school, I then went on seeking for a job. So I reached out to a few people. I deposited a few applications, and immediately I reached out to this person. They were like, okay. They gave me an appointment, and I put together my documents and everything. I mean, that was really just for formality because they had known me before. And when it was barely even an interview. It was barely an interview. They just asked me a bit about my future plans and everything, and all those type of things, and I gave answers to, and then I immediately started the job. So of course it wasn't the fanciest job on earth, but it did come with housing and some advantages, and the pay wasn't very fancy, but it did permit me to pay my bills and send a few francs back home. So at that point, I would still have considered myself one of the lucky ones, because not everybody that graduated school and was doing well, basically not everybody had that opportunity. So I still counted myself lucky. And then I went all in. I was very grateful for the opportunity and of course I went all in and I started with the work. So basically the life of a civil engineer is it's hectic most of the times, because especially when you have to go to the field and then you have to walk outdoors. Sometimes the terrain is not so comfortable. It hardly ever is, and you work under harsh conditions, but you have to do that, and you work late nights, early mornings. It's just as the job demands, because the project, you have a project that you are trying to bring to life, and you're not going to let the project fail for whatever reason. So you dedicate like your entire life to the project. Before you know it, it consumes all of you. You have no life. So the work-life balance, especially for a beginner in that type of a field, is not very pretty. So you go all in, and that is what I did. I went all in. I had to move houses because of the job, and in the new neighborhood where I was, I didn't really know many people, so my social life was a total mess. And all I did was give in my all to the job, and I worked as hard as I could. I knew so well that at that point I couldn't really expect to have like the best pay, but I wanted to work hard and at least get to know one or two things about the domain before I started hoping to get better in terms of payment. So I did just that. And not long after, I started burning out. Of course, if the work-life balance is horrible and you're not making any intentional efforts to fix that, then you're going to burn out sooner than later. So quitting your first job is a very bold thing to do. Like, are you crazy? What has come over you? What are you thinking? A lot of people would immediately panic at the thought of something like this. If something like this came to their minds, they would immediately panic. But what guided my reasoning, what gave me this confidence, what gave me this assurance to go ahead and did what I did, I'm going to explain to you. But before we get to that, it is very important to know that society was very proud of me. Like, I was the ideal young person. You've paid your dues. You've gone through school, you've graduated with a master's in civil engineering with honors. You went on and got yourself a job, got yourself a place, you can pay your bills, you're a young person in her mid-20s. You've got all this going for you, so you are doing well. Your society's definition of what a young person should be, your society's definition of what a successful young girl should be. So it's safe to say that society was very proud of me, family was very proud of me. I mean, I had all these, there is this pride that comes with people calling you engineer. Like you get into an occasion, you get honored. So that, I think that aspect is very important, because I think it is one of the things that influence the decisions that we take regarding our career path. We want the optics to look good, even if what we are doing doesn't help us survive reality, is not able to sustain us. We want the optics to look good. We want to look like the definition of a successful young person to society. We want to look like a person who has a decent job to society. We want to look like a person who has one of the most important jobs in society. So all those things are important aspects that I think we should talk about in this video, because they guide how we approach this type of things and how we take these types of decisions. Okay, so one of the first questions that I asked myself was I learning in this environment? And my answer, it was an easy question to answer. I wasn't learning, because I had these many advantages, but they were mostly financial. I mean, the housing just did help, but I had one or two financial advantages, and those were really just advantages. They were not like the pay in itself, but they did come as advantages. But was I learning? I wasn't learning. And at that point in my career, it was very important that I learned, because I was fresh out of school. I had a lot of learning to do. I had a lot of learning to do in the field, but the environment didn't really permit me to learn, and the structure itself wasn't giving me opportunities to go out and learn. And that was something that was really, really important for me. It was like one of the most important things for me at that point, but I wasn't learning as much. It's true that I went and did investigations on my own. I tried to learn on my own, but the structure wasn't supporting my learning in any way. So that was the first question that I asked myself. And I think that it's an important question to ask yourself, especially as a fresh graduate. You're new to the professional world. That is one of the things that you should ask yourself. Am I learning? Is it challenging me? Is it pushing me? Is it giving me opportunities to go out and learn new things? So that was question number one. Now, question number two, am I earning? And that too, unfortunately, was no. It didn't really come as a surprise because at that stage, your bargaining power is low. Your experience is still really low. Yes, you're qualified for the job, but your experience is still quite low. So that doesn't play well for you during bargaining. But I wasn't earning anything too impressive. And to me, that didn't help matters at all, because sometimes I could stay because I was earning, even though I wasn't learning. But I wasn't learning and I wasn't earning that good either. So the whole package started seeming less attractive to me by the days. Okay, question number three was I happy? Like, in the very least, you don't expect to be, I don't think that it is realistic to want to be, to get like jots of happiness, of excitement when you think about going to your workplace, when you think about going to your job site. But at least it should be something that you are happy doing, you find some joy doing. But for some reason, I wasn't that happy. I had gone through engineering school and I loved the whole idea of engineering. But being in that structure, the way it was organized and my daily activities, my routine, most of the times I was not happy. I just wasn't happy in that environment. And it's not about not liking work, because I am hardworking. I am a person who focuses on things and gets things done. Yes, I was getting the things done, but was I happy when I would leave work and come back home? I feel very drained, not just because of the work that I had done, not because I was physically tired. I just wasn't getting psychological rewards from the work. Even when I had succeeded to get something done in a project, I wasn't happy. I got it done. Yes, the boss was happy, the company was happy, work was okay. But as a person, really, I wasn't happy. And I didn't see myself staying there and doing that for much more longer, because I asked myself, so if you had morbid thought, if you had a terminal illness and you had just a limited number of days to live, is this really something that you want to spend your time doing? Is this really something that you want to do? We know that there are bills to pay. We know that there are things to build. But is this really something that you want to spend your life doing? It wasn't it for me. It wasn't working for me. Then another important question that I asked was, is this something that, excuse me, that would permit me build a home in the nearest future? Like, if I continue in this line of work, if I hope to climb the career ladder in this kind of work, like best case scenario, I climb the career ladder and I'm doing well for myself, would this thing permit me to build a home? Because I am a very family oriented person, and that too wasn't a yes. That too wasn't a yes, because I was like, best case scenario, you do really, really well in this aspect, in this structure, and you go higher and higher and higher. It's like the higher I went, the deeper I went into this pit that I was digging for myself. I wasn't going to be able to be like a mother or a wife, and those are things that I would really want to do with my life. So it was either one thing or the other. So I immediately understood that it wasn't something that I could do in that line of work. With the demands of it, I was going to fail at one eye. So of course, after having asked these questions and the answers were not really positive, I didn't just go ahead and quit blindly. I settled down and I started off with a plan. So I looked at other paths in engineering that I could follow that were less demanding than this, and that could permit me to do other things, or permit me to build the family that I wanted to build, permit me to learn, permit me to earn a little bit more, and just all those things. So I looked at the things that mattered most to me, and not just in the present, but in the future. Because I think that this is one aspect that we are lacking on. When we tend to think a lot about the present, and then we don't see how feasible it is going to be for our future. So I started thinking, and then I started looking for other opportunities while I was still on the job. Very important. I didn't just quit blindly. I started looking for other opportunities. And while I was looking for other opportunities, I was taking into consideration all these questions that I had vetted my present situation on, and seeing if I could find something that provided better circumstances to achieve all these other things that I had started considering. Another important point is that what works for you will not necessarily be what is good for the optics. So sometimes you will have to take a decision that is not good for the optics, because everybody thought I was crazy. But as I tell you today, even right up till today, I still think that that was one of the most rewarding decisions that I took for my life. And it taught me that each experience had the unique thing that it contributed to your life. So know that each experience will bring something different to your life. It's either helping with your confidence, in that domain. It's helping with experience. It's helping you earn. But don't have this blind loyalty. Don't settle too early. Don't settle too early. Give yourself an opportunity to try. Know that each opportunity is there to serve a purpose. And when it has served its purpose, let go. If it's no longer serving a purpose, you let go. Learn to move, learn to explore, learn to upskill. Just learn to explore yourself, explore your own potential, and don't just blindly settle at the very, very early stages. So that is my take on the whole thing. So what are the most important things for you and for your nearest future? What are the priorities for you? What do you really want to get going for your life? And is the job that you are currently at, is it helping you get any of those things? You should ask those important questions. It is your life and you have to take charge. You can't just allow everything to happenstance. You have to take the steering and steer your life in the direction that you want it to be. So identify these questions, ask these questions, and if the current structure isn't answering any of these questions in a positive way, let go of it and move. Allow yourself to explore. I hope that you found this insightful, and I hope that I was able to give you some clarity and some guidance around the things that you should consider before leaving your job or hanging tight or staying really, really faithful and committed to it. And if this is your first time of coming across my videos, I am Dintel, and I like to share videos about my early adulthood years and some lessons and experiences that I had around relationships, career, and business. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with the chaos of early adulthood and you're really not sure of the things that you are doing, so this is a space for you. Stay tuned, like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And then until next time,